Hi, I'm Kim Clary, and I work with the Pacific Palisades Task Force on Homelessness. And I also am the site coordinator with LASA, that's the Los Angeles Homeless Service Authority. And we have done the count 2 times in a row now, last year and this year. And it was a lot of work the first time to organize it and everything, but we actually organized it so well we became a model for the rest of the city. And that was due to great organizational skills of our team. My husband, David Morana, and Kristen and Doug McCormick and Brian Deming. They were all very great. So we had the second count just started this morning, and we had it went smoothly. Some people didn't show up, but we got all the teams together, and everything worked out great. Out in the field, they go out and count. They have LASA gives us census tract maps, and there's 9 of them. And we put teams together of 4, and they go out. There's a navigator, a driver, a counter, and maybe 2 counters. And they go out and they drive or walk the areas depending on where they are. If we have them on the beach, they have to walk the beach. They pretty much cover all of the Palisades. There's a kind of dangerous area that we consider the bluffs and near Temescal and Chautauqua and where the fire was, and Officer Moore has been kind enough to do that for both years. The area that LASA, this is the SPA 5, part of SPA 5, and this is the Palisades, and LASA has asked us to cover all these areas. There's 9 tracts. We're not covering this one because it doesn't make sense. It's up in the hills, and the rangers and Officer Moore said there are no homeless up here. So Officer Moore is doing this area. This is the Bluffs area, and goes up to the Huntington, I believe, right? And down to the beach. So it's behind the barrier wall. He's covering that area with his men and 1 woman. And what we try to do is the areas that people live and know where the homeless are, we try to put them on those teams. So Sharon Kilbride is doing this area, and then this is the Vaughn's area where there's a lot of homeless, and the Getty area on the beach. So those are pretty active homeless areas. The Highlands is not so active, but a count of 0 is fine. But we just have to cover it, so we're doing those areas.
Hi, I'm Mariam Czar. I'm the chair of the Pacific Palisades Task Force on Homelessness, and today is our Pacific Palisades count. Well, we've come a long way in a year. This was the very first thing we did last year when we first formed. It was our inception, and it was our very first big activity community-wide. It was a hit back then. We did it quite right a year ago, but here we are a year later, and we've really accomplished a lot in the course of the last year. Of course, the head of our count is Kim Clary and her husband David, and they're very organized again this year, just like they were last year. But in the course of the last year, we've really had a lot of accomplishments that we can tout. One of them has been the signage that we've been able to put up in the bluffs and get some enforcement there. We have been able to raise enough money to engage the OPCC. We now have 2 full-time workers here in the Palisades who've already gone out in the streets and spoken to more than 60 homeless people. They've already gotten about a handful off the streets, and they're working on a few more. So that's been great. We've been able to conduct a decent amount of outreach just ourselves within our own task force. We've been able to sort of get a little bit more familiar with the lay of the land and figure out how many homeless people we have and why they're here. So that's been very helpful in the process of engaging the OPCC. And here we are again doing this count one more time. And in the meantime, we've been recognized by a lot of different groups, and elected officials and other communities are coming to us wondering if what we're doing can be replicated to some degree in other communities. So hopefully we're beginning to really address an issue that a lot of communities are going to want to address on their own as well.
Brian Deming, and I'm a member of the Leadership Council on the Pacific Palisades Task Force on Homelessness. The task force has been pioneering a new effort at a community level, a more intimate level, a deeper connection with homelessness at a local level. And this model that we've come up with is a model that could be applied to any community, any city, neighborhood, zip code, county, state, country. So as we have our successes and failures, we're looking to learn from both of those and apply those to the model and make it as durable as possible so that it works as well as possible for as many people as possible, the homeless. This year, the turnout for the count was fantastic. A little polish on the diamond from last year. Last year was, it took us a while to set it up. It was our first time. The count's been around for 10, 15 years, and last year was the first time the Palisades had participated in it. And this year, we're old pros at it. We're getting better and better at it. So it took a little less time to set up. And we executed a little smoother, and they're out there counting right now. We're looking forward to the results when they come back in an hour or two.
Team 7 found 5 tents at Will Rogers Beach. We found 15 individuals. We found 10 makeshift encampments. Most of the folks were sleeping still on the beach at Will Rogers between the 2 tunnels. We found 3 individuals around the Chevron station. We found 1 individual camped out in front of Will Rogers Park in the doorway. So we had a very fruitful day.
Right, and we think that because we came in earlier this year, by about 45 minutes earlier than last year, that we were able to catch people and get a more accurate count, because just at the first crack of dawn, I think these people are up and gone, and we were out there probably 20 to 30 minutes before the first crack of dawn.
I'm Michael Moore. I'm the Senior Lead Officer of the Pacific Palisades area. We participated in the homeless count today mostly because we could access areas that are too dangerous for community members to go into, both because of the number of homeless people that potentially could be there, but also because of the isolation that's involved. We saw less homeless camps this year in those dangerous areas than we have encountered last year. But we did find that there is a higher count of homeless people actually on the beach.
Stephanie Cohen, and we were in group 3, which was all of Marquez, Huntington, and Temescal Canyon. We found 2 people, 1 in Temescal and 1 walking down Palisades Drive. And there were a few encampments behind the Starbucks on Sunset and Palisades Drive, I believe it is. And that's about it. We drove through all of the residential neighborhoods, every single street. There wasn't anything as expected in the residential side, but on the main streets, we seemed to see a little bit more movement, and then when the sun came up, there was a little bit more.
Hi, my name is Patrick Hart, and I am a volunteer on the Pacific Palisades Task Force for Homeless. I've been shooting the homeless for well over a year now. Most of the time, I've been taking my service dog Murphy on what I call the Gladstones to the Getty and back beach walk, and we will walk in the morning up along PCH and then go down on the rocks and then come back down along the beach. And I have hundreds and hundreds of pictures of all of the tents and the various homeless I've seen come and go over the last year. I was in the whole area down Temescal Canyon. And we went to all the encampments on the west side, me and Sue Pasco, because she rocks her dog now. So she knows where to go in the dark, and I know where to go in the dark. So we were going in the dark. And go, oh, yeah, there's somebody still there. And then we went down on the beach, and we went all along the beach, all the way up to Gladstones, and then back. How many did you find? We counted 33 total.
My name is Officer Fox from the Los Angeles Police Department, and today we did a task force to count transient encampments and homeless people that are living in the hillsides and the beaches in and around the Palisades area.
And what did you find?
We found quite a few encampments in the hills, and our goal today, because of the fire risk, was to kind of contact them, let them know that they're not allowed to be there, and also work with your organization, the fire department, and kind of identify the location so that in the future we can clean up the areas and ensure that we can protect the community from any risk of fire, and also protect them in light of El Nino and the other any other events that unexpected events that might come up.
Okay, my name is Glenda Sherman. I'm one of the members of the new Palisades outreach team, and we've been here since January, engaging people to take services and to bring them in and offer them housing. So we've got quite a few people that have come in, considering that we've only been here for like 3 or 4 weeks. So it's looking good. So we come every day, Monday through Friday, and we engage people. We offer services, we give them hygiene items, we give them sandwiches, and we talk to them. So the ideal is to build a relationship and to gain their trust.
And what did you do today out there? Were you just one of the teams? Or?
Today I was with one of the teams, 4 people, and we counted the homeless that we saw and the encampments that we saw, and we counted about 19 total people and 1 encampment. So,
Frances Sharp. I'm a resident of Pacific Palisades for 22 years. I live in the El Medio Bluffs, and I am also the editor-in-chief of the Palisadian Post newspaper. And this morning, my team went down to the Castellamar area. We did the beach from PCH up to coastline, and we counted a total of 24 individuals there on the beach as well as in Los Leones, and we counted, I think, just 1 makeshift shelter where we did not see an individual with them. But I thought it was a lot of people. I did the count last year, and I was on the beach closer to Temescal and PCH, and we didn't see quite as many people as we did this year. We saw a lot of people who were gathering up their things, getting ready to go, getting ready to move up into the village, I would assume. We saw people at the showers and bathrooms at the beach doing their morning hygiene routine. And I'm just really glad to be able to participate today, and it was really great that we had so many volunteers, and I am hopeful that the results that we get will help give us some better resources and help get people into services and off the streets.
So we've just begun to engage the OPCC. So one of our goals really over the course of the next year is to see how well that works, how effective it is to really be able to take services out to the streets and try to transition people out of homelessness. We are going to form a 501c3. We weren't a 501c3 up until now. We've just been a community organization. So once we form the 501c3, we'll be able to address a few more aspects of homelessness. So we're going to look a little bit more at enforcement. We're going to look at some of the other options that might be available to a local community having to do with homelessness. So we have new things on our docket this year, and hopefully we're going to, as we grow, we'll be more able to handle more aspects of homelessness.